delicious coffee on the street, no branding, on purpose no branding, because we didn't want any barriers. There was no door, no windows. People could walk into the espresso machine, see what we were doing.
Everybody! Welcome on in! Happy Monday! God, is my screen, hold on, wait, there we go, we gotta do some adjustments. Hi, everybody! Sorry I'm late, YouTube was not working, and I don't know why, and now YouTube's working, so yay! We love when we fix it right away! Today, actually, that reminds me, I gotta open a couple more tabs. Today, we are going to be doing a ranking video. So our last ranking stream I thought went so great. It was fantastic. It was ranking what type of queer all the Final Fantasy VII characters are. We had a great time. I mean, I had a great time. I hope you had a great time. And then the video did well. And then I was like, I think we should kind of do, arguably more of these, you know? So here we are. Today we are going to be ranking which Animal Crossing character is most likely to call you a slur, which is very exciting. I do think, listen, I think this is, it's something I've thought about, you know, in the original Animal Crossing games. I would say, what? It's not about you right now. I know you heard animal, but it's not actually about you at this moment, all right? Get out of here. The original game, your neighbors were a lot meaner, which I also think made it a little bit more fun sometimes. But words, hold on. I'm coming out of tech brain mode. I'm coming out of scuff mode and into performer mode. Yeah, but I do think some of the Animal Crossing characters in New Horizon would definitely say some shit. They made them a little too nice. They could make them a little bit meaner. So that's what we're gonna go through today. I do have a cheat sheet up here. I guess I could move it. I'll move it over here. I have a cheat sheet over here now because I realized how little I actually know the Animal Crossing. Like, I know a lot of the Animal Crossing villagers, but then there's some of them, like, I've never seen them. I've seen them maybe in online art, but that's about as far as it goes. So, yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. All right, say hello to everybody. Oh my God, hello, Fan. Hello, Seven. Listen, hello, trans girl next door. It's good to see you. Hello to Fawn. Hello, Jan. Jan, I'm sorry to make you wait on your really, really good Would You Rather. That must be really hard for you. Hi, Lance, late unacceptable. Listen, it's not my fault, okay? It's YouTube's fault. We could, everyone write YouTube right now and complain. Hello, Shu. Hello, Pimp. Nick, welcome in. All right. I'm scared. Would you rather only be able to smell farts? Ooh. Your sense of smell is completely disabled otherwise, so if you do smell anything, you can be 100% sure that it originated as a gaseous movement from an anus. Or you can only taste water. When you bite moist food, you can directly taste the moisture within them, but otherwise they contain no flavor. Only taste water. Very easy answer, very simple answer for me. That was a kind of a no-brainer. Oh my God, my bangs crooked, you guys. I'm gonna crash out right now. My hair Is my hair okay? Is it, oh my God, you guys, Mondays, am I right? Yeah, only be able to drink water or taste water, I would say. Water's nice. I like water. You know, yeah, that's fine. Water's good for you. You know, it might be a little bit of a bummer, but farts smell bad. And like certain people have ranker farts than others. So like I don't want to put myself in the situation, but maybe it would become the new normal for me. So I don't know. You know, maybe it would be, how did you all pick the wrong one? Jan, can you at least run me through your logic there? Run me through your thought process there? Fun fact, this video, when it's edited, is going to debut on New Year's Day! Yay! So really quick, chat, please turn the comments into a New Year's themed comment section. Be like, oh my God, these are my resolutions. Oh my God, 2025, am I right? So yeah, that'd be cute. That'd be fun. Give you a minute, just, you know, make some happy New Year's farts. Yippee! Yeah, happy. We did it. We made it through the end of 2025. It's not October. Don't worry about it. It's December and it's cold and we just had holidays and that's totally what just happened. It's New Year's. Happy New Year's. Have a happy New Year. It's the last day of 2025 and tomorrow is 2026. Yippee! Yippee! Yeah, guys, come on. Where's my New Year's comments? Guys. Let's go. You all crazy. Let's go. Sir! All right, it's been such a great year. Guys, what was your favorite thing that you got for Christmas and or Hanukkah and or another holiday you celebrate that gives gifts at the end of the year? My favorite gift I got, manifesting, was I got a full-sized Axel body pillow to replace my other full-size Axel body pillow, and it's great. It's new, you know, beautiful art. One side he's clothed, one side he's less clothed. That was my favorite present. I missed the roast. What's the roast? That's a sweet roast though. You have such a sweet tooth. You named your dog after a cookie. That's true. I actually have such a sweet tooth that I have to make a dentist appointment because I have a tooth pain right now. But I like yours a lot better. Yes, because she's a sweet baby. She's a sweet, blind baby, and she's bringing me bone, which I'm picking up with my foot because I'm very talented, and then we're throwing for her. Wait a minute. All right. We've stalled. We've had enough time. We're gonna jump in. All right. So I've got a bunch of stuff here. I made a bunch of different categories. Hold on, that's gonna bother me. The little ad at the bottom is still showing. Let's. I'm just gonna trim it. Hold on. What layer is not locked? Lock. Okay. Yeah. Lock. Great. All right. Just a little bit at the bottom. There we go. That's better. It's gonna make me crazy. So we've got down here all of our Animal Crossing villagers and NPCs, and of course our favorite Animal Crossing character, Brisk Apollo. Can I get a let's go pro gamers for editor Brisk, who's gonna love editing this video, and we're gonna make it so easy for him. Yay, probably. All right. So we've got a couple categories here. We've got, again, the category is which Animal Crossing character would call you a slur. So we're going to go one by one. Our first category is absolutely would call you a slur and would repeat it. If you were like, wait, what did you say? They'd be like, oh, let me say it again. Second is would say it to your face. Happy New Year, Brisk. Thank you, Jan. Everyone wish Editor Brisk a Happy New Year. We've got would on the internet, but would not in person. We've got would, but would deny it. We've got would whisper it. We've got would, but wouldn't know what it means. Like they heard it somewhere and they think it's like a cool slang, and then you tell them and they're like, what? Oh my God. We've got would not. We've got would not and would be shook at the idea of it. We've got would not and would throw hands at somebody who did. We got would not and would cry, and then this new category, which I don't need. So these are all our categories. Which Animal Crossing character is most likely to call you a slur? And again, I have my cheat sheet over here just to help me, because there's a lot of good God, Animal Crossing characters would use gay as a slur. For sure some of them would. I think we gotta start with who we're all waiting for first. Where is he? Oh God, there's so many faces here, you guys. We gotta start with Mr. Tom Nook. That just feels right. Would Tom Nook call you... What am I hearing? Ghosts? No, I'm hearing Spotify. All right. Would Tom Nook call you a slur? I think he would whisper it. I think Tom Nook would whisper it. I think as you're walking away, he would be like, and you say, what's that? He goes, what? And you go, what? And you go, okay, bye-bye. You know what I mean? But it'd be under his breath. No, hear me out. Okay, wait, Fenn's cooking right now. Listen! You know I've gone through some hauntings here. In this house, Seven. Oh, that's actually, Fenn, that's true. That's a good point. He does not put a limit on paying your house if there's no debt. Okay, I'm gonna go with would but wouldn't know what it means, actually. That's right. Would but wouldn't know. Like, he heard, like, Isabel say it, you know, and he's like, oh, that must be some new young person slang. And so he says it to you, and you're like, whoa, Tom, you can't just say that to somebody. And he's like, well, why? Isn't it like a funny slang? Or like he says it and people like look at him wrong, and then Timmy and Tommy have to be like, okay, so you can't say that. That's actually really bad. And he's like, oh, good heavens. You know, I think that's true. He's very progressive. I think he would say it in the way where he would not know what it means, but then he would, like, you know, he'd be taught and he'd be like, what? I said what publicly to a villager? You know, he'd send like a flower basket as an apology. He'd send like some fruit, but the fruit would be from your own tree in your front yard. But he'd be like, you haven't paid the house off yet, so technically it's my tree in your front yard, but still it's good fruit, and I saved you the trouble of picking it. Sorry for calling you that. Totally did not mean to. My bad. All right, let's go with do we have by species here? Okay, I gotta find all of these bitches all one by one. Okay, we got Ace. Let's see if we can find Ace over here. Ace is a blue bird. Would it be easier to find him by this list, or it'd be easier to find him over here? All right. There's so many villagers. There are so many villagers. We're gonna go to the bird species here. All right, we got. Oh, Admiral is who we're looking for here. All right, Admiral. Now this is where I need your guys' help here, because some of you are going to know more villagers than I do. I'm not going to know all the villagers. I know most of the villagers, you know what I mean? But there's some I'm going to need you guys to be like, no, absolutely. Villager, true. Jan makes a good point. Villager is kind of a small town slur, you know, like, oh, you're a villager, oh, you know what I mean? Shu, he'd apologize by saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. I agree, so I'm sorry you feel. Okay, Admirable is a cranky male. Admiral, I don't know, Admiral, the vibes I'm getting for Admiral, I'm getting would not. Admiral as a cranky seems like he stays in his lane. You know, he seems like he's got his own projects. He's got his own shit going on. I don't think he needs the drama. In fact, he strikes me as somebody who wants to just be left alone. He wants peace. He wants quiet. He wants $1 million so he could have an island all to himself. You know, just to him with nobody else around him. So he would not, but mainly because he hates people in general. You know what I mean? Like, he tolerates them. But yeah, these topics are thoughtful. Thank you. Listen. There's so much nuance. There's a lot of characters here. All right, we've got a squirrel next. I'm bringing it by animal because that's gonna be. All right, we got Agent S, the squirrel. Agent S, female, is very peppy. I'm looking at the picture of Agent S, and I'm kind of thinking. Agent S is a Cancer. Yeah. I'm gonna say Agent S would deny it. Okay? Agent S, like, would say it, and you'd say, what was that? And she'd say, what was that? You'd say, no, I didn't say anything. You know what I mean? That's what I think Agent S would do. I think that she doesn't find it offensive. She's like, it's just words. You know what I mean? We're all too sensitive, is in her mind. But I think she would say it and then be like, no, I didn't say anything, because she knows it's not appropriate. You know, she knows that it's a bad thing to say, but also in her own little weird protest way, she's got to say it. You know, that's what I think. All right, who we got next? We got a pig. Hold on, let me bring up. Oh, we got Agnes. Oh, Agnes is sweet and big sister. Agnes, I'm gonna say would not and would be shook at the idea of it. You said, did you just call me this? She'd be like, what? No. Oh my God, what? And then she might. Actually, I'm gonna change her. She would not and would cry. Would not and would cry. If she'd be like, someone called you that, and she would just start crying, and she would be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry someone would call you that, and that's so mean, and then she'd like make you like a cup of tea, you know what I mean, and then she'd like, you know, like she's also, you know, been through the ringer. She's been bullied growing up, I'm sure. I don't know why I'm sure about that. She just looks like someone who's bullied in elementary school specifically. Listen, we're here for hot takes. We're here for specific hot takes, all right? I'm not holding back. But she would not only be devastated, but she would also cry. She would also be like, I you know, what'd you bring me? Oh my God, this bone she's bringing me is getting like more and more wet. You know what I mean? Oh fuck, hold on. Oh fuck again, wait, oh no guys, oh no, it all went wrong. That's not yours, that's yours, go get it. Oh no, you can't see it because you're blind. Oh, poor blindy. There, you can hear it. Poor blind baby. All right, I just threw her bone into my makeup desk, and then it threw all my makeup off the desk, and then she ran to the makeup thinking, this is my bone, and I was like, no, don't eat that. And then I had to find the bone, but then she couldn't see the bone because she's blind, and you know, it's yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, don't worry. The sisters are here. I got the you know, other ones down here. We'll get to everybody. Do not worry. I got you. Not even 20 minutes. And listen, we're doing our best here. All right. Welcome, Bond. You made it. All right. Up next, we got Alfonso. Let's bring up our alligators. Alfonso's lazy. He's an alligator. What does Alfonso give to me? Lazy. I feel like Alfonso would say it on the internet, but would not say it in person. You know, Alfonso would tweet it in an anonymous account. Alfonso would be a Redditor, like rage baiter, you know? What's my hair doing? My puppy ears. Do you guys like my puppy ears? That's what I'm calling them. I think they're so cute. Shout out to my style icon since I was a kid, Cardcaptor Sakura. Keep slaying. Yeah, no, he would type it, he would tweet it, he would do it. Thank you, Bud. You know, but I think that he, in person, he'd be like, that's not my account. That's not my account. I don't know why you, but no, that's not me. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say about me? All right, we'll do one more. We'll do Alice, and then we'll go to another main NPC. Okay, so we got Alice. It is normal. I had Alice in one of the older games for sure. I remember Alice. Alice would whisper it. I'll stay by. Alice is nice, but she's not that nice. Again, Alice minds her business. Alice is in her own world, in her own, you know, category. I believe that she would whisper it. I believe that she would, if you would like, what'd you say? She'd say nothing. I believe she's very passive aggressive. You know, a lot of the normal villagers strike me as that kind of passive aggressive. Like you know what I mean? They're so nice, but then like they're not really that nice. They're just being good neighbors, but they hate you. So that's what I feel. I feel like that's her. Like, she's a good neighbor. You can borrow a cup of sugar, but she's also hates you. And when she calls her mom on the phone, she's like, this fucking human, the only humans, am I right? Like, she's kind of human racist. Yeah, that's what I think. She'd whisper, but she doesn't want to outwardly be known as that, but that's how she feels. She's feeling it. Can't wait for the new AC to have toxic social media. That would be amazing. That would be, I would buy a Switch 2 if they were like, and the Animal Crossing characters are on social media and also a little bit toxic. Oh yeah, Spud for sure. Spud would be, Spud, I want to say with throw hands, Spud would not M would cry. If you told Spud you were being bullied or anything, he would just start sobbing. He would be like, he's just this very sensitive little guy. Hold on, do I have a Spud I can, oh wait, oh no. Choose a file. Do I have a Spud I can add on here? I have to, right? Oh yeah. We got our Spud emote. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Spud for sure. Can I get a Let's Go Pro Gamers in the chat for Spud the Axolotl, my little baby? Yeah, Spud would not and would cry. If you went to Spud and you were like, this happened to me, it would be devastating to him. He's also been called a lot of things, you know, and he would probably, because he doesn't really speak that much, he would cry and sob. He'd wipe his face on your shirt, boogers and all, and then he'd go and he'd get you like a candy bar and he'd split the candy bar with you, but he's gonna eat his half while still crying and patting you on the knee. That's the visual I'm painting for Spud the Axolotl. You know what, we'll do one more alligator. We got Allie the alligator. Allie the alligator 100% would say it and would repeat it. She would say it loud and proud. She'd say it on the internet. She'd say it and then she'd say, you'd say what? And she'd say it again. And she'd say it again, and she'd stand by it, all right? And you'd say, Allie, that's really offensive. And she'd say, good, I hope it is. I hope it is offensive. I want you to be offended right now. And you'd be like, Allie, that's not like a cool, okay thing to say. And Allie would be like, I'm not trying to be cool. I'm trying to live my best life, okay? And if you happen to be in the way of that, then I'm gonna say it unapologetically. That's where Allie is. All right, let's get a main one going on. Okay, it's almost Halloween. I mean, it's not almost Halloween. It's New Year's. Happy New Year's, everybody! Happy New Year! It's totally New Year's right now. But we'll go with Jack, the Halloween one for now. You know, if it, like in the what do you have? I don't even see anything here, girl. I mean, you don't see anything there either because you can't see. So I'm not surprised, but it's not there. All right. Yeah, Happy New Year's! I mean, thank you. If it was Halloween, I believe in Jack, but I also believe that trends are rapidly changing, including over the holidays. You know what I mean? I believe Jack might say it, but wouldn't know what it means. I believe Jack would hear it, and someone would be like, that's a spooky thing to say. And he'd be like, ooh, a spooky thing to say? And then you'd be like, no, Jack. And he'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He may be into spookies and scaries, but he's not into like offensive stuff. You know what I mean? He's a respectful spooker. You know, he would never make somebody go through a haunted house where it would affect their heart issues. He would if you would enjoy it. He would push you a little bit if he thinks you might enjoy it. But I believe that he's not here to offend. He's here for a good time. Again, he might hear it and then repeat it, but then he would be like, what? And he'd feel bad. Again, Tom would be like, oh, that's weird, and send a basket. But I think Jack would feel actively bad. yeah, Jan's got it. Jack, that's a horrific thing to say. And he'd say, horror, say less. That'd be exactly it. Hear me out. We need one more tier. Says a slur, but it's someone to, oh, okay. It says a slur back to somebody who says it. We could do that. All right. Do I have my gorillas? All right, gorilla time. Who do we got here? We've got Al, who is lazy. Again, Al, somebody who would say it on the internet. Al would say it on the internet, and then you'd like, is that you, Al? He's like, nah, for real, it's not me. For real, nah. You know, he doesn't even deny it that hard. You're like, Al, this is clearly you. There's pictures of you on this account. He'd be like, he'd shrug, say, I don't know. And a Clayton voice, gorilla, stretch. Okay, I guess I will. Did a notification pop up? I don't think a notification popped up. Oh my God, guys. Please. Notifications. It should still be working. Unless that's not the right notification button. Oh, is it because, could it be? Who knows? I don't think it did. Hydrate over dihydrate every day. Hold on. I gotta make a note to myself and look at notifications. I'm just gonna put Twitch notifications, question marks, notifications. Love, live, laugh, love notifications that always work perfectly for me. Thank you so much. And posture check, fine, I will. Fine, I'll sit up straight if I have to. All right, who's next? We got an eagle coming up. Do we have the eagle tab open yet? Not yet. Let's open the eagle tab. Okay, we got Amelia, who is snooty. I think Amelia would not. Same with kind of Admiral. I'm gonna call him Admirable. Same with Admiral. She's minding her own business. She doesn't have time for you, to offend you, to make you feel better, to whatever. You know, if you do something nice for her, she's like, oh, that's okay, you're fine, you're aight. But other than that, you know, it's not like a huge thing for her. We got Annabelle the Anteater is peppy. Annabelle, what are you to me? Annabelle the Anteater. First of all, what a good name for an anteater. A+ to the namer of Annabelle. Hi, I don't have anything for you. If someone redeems you, I can give you something, but until you're redeemed, you're still going to hell. Guys, Oreo is going to hell. She's on her way right now. Only you can save her by redeeming her. So if you don't, and she's in hell for all of eternity, I want you to know that's on every single one of you as a viewer. That's on everybody here. You all did. Oh! What? It's true! What? All right, you can be you're going to heaven! You're going to heaven! Come here. Take her out. Congratulations, you've been saved. You've been saved by Fen. You've been saved. You're going to heaven. You're gonna go to the doggy heaven that has lots of toys and treats and bones and love. And yeah, no hell for you today. And it would have been New Year's. You know, you're going to heaven. You're starting 2026 is gonna be heaven year for you. Everything's gonna go your way and be amazing. Can I choose where she goes? What the fuck? Where do you want to send her, Fen? So, I'm a little curious. What's your, like, thought process? Can Fen choose where you go? You know what, Fen? Go for it. Noodle shop? You're going to noodle shop! Actually, there is a local noodle shop, a pho place that she loves, and she gets a little bowl every time. So that is heaven to her. Noodle shop would be, you know, heaven on earth for this one. Anyone have anything they want to say to Oreo? You want to wish Oreo a happy New Year, since today is New Year's Eve. That is the exact day it is today that we're filming this and doing this. Mwah. How are you doing, Oreo? You're doing good. You got your Halo harness, and that's been doing really good for you over not bumping into things. You've been sweet. You've been snuggly. You've been eating bone, chewing table leg, you know, dog things. Normal dog things. Oh, happy noodle year! Oh, Bon says, you radiant lady of the court! Fawn says, da baby! Alright, you did good. Seven says, Oreo, you are the secret true creator. No idea who that is holding you. It's true. Oreo is actually a ventriloquist, and her paw's been up my ass since I started making content. So she's shy, so she doesn't want you to know it's her. And yeah, I kind of fucked up your secret, Oreo. My bad. But it's a new year, new her, new vibes. All right, let's give you a treat. You got redeemed. You're going to Noodle Shop Heaven. Congratulations, Noodle Shop. Congratulations, Noodle Shop Heaven. Congratulations. There you go. I mean, right now it's not Noodle Shop Heaven. Right now it's chicken bone heaven. So, but not a real chicken bone. Because you can't just give your pets. Actually, they can splinter. It's like a chicken treat chew bone. So don't worry. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for saving Oreo. That was nice of you. That was really nice of you. She needed it. probably made her day. All right, Annabelle the Anteater. I'm gonna also go with would not. I don't know that she necessarily be like shook that someone said it, or be sad or be mad for you. She would just be like, she just wouldn't. And if you're like, well, someone was mean to me once, she'd be like, that's a bummer. And she'd go on about her day, you know. Anchovy, the bird, lazy. Anchovy gives me the vibes that he would say it to your face. I feel that Anchovy, he wouldn't repeat it, he wouldn't whisper it, he would just say it in a sentence blatantly to you, and you'd say, did you say this? He goes, I don't know, I guess I did. Does not care, you know. That's Anchovy. Let's see, we got Agnes next, who is cranky. Agnes would not, and would throw hands at somebody who did. Agnes not only would be like, how dare you? Agnes would then turn around and be like, who said it to you? I've been saying their name wrong. Angus. But I'm sure Agnes, whoever you may be, is also that passionate. Angus would be like, who said it to you? I'm gonna mess him up. We got Anacotti, the mouse, preppy. I'm gonna say, again, just a general would not. She's minding her business. She doesn't care. She's living her best life. We got Anka. Okay, so Anka's one I have, so I know her. Ooh, and I'm torn on this. Hold on. What you got there? Okay. I'm torn on this because I have her as a villager. You know what I mean? It could go a lot of ways right now. I believe... Oh, Anka... I believe that she would not, and would be absolutely shook at the idea that you accused her of it. Okay? How could you accuse her of saying something like that? It would become an offense. In fact, she would cancel you on the internet over it. She'd be like, Villager said this. And then she'd get like all the likes and subscribes. How could they think that about you, Anka? And she'd be like, buy my new Gucci Prada perfume and that'll make me feel better. She's an influencer, you know? I mean, look at her. You know, she's an OnlyFans girl, as we know. We all saw that video. You know, she's got the posse to back it up. So she would not, and she'd be offended that you would even think that she would. All right. And what we also have a video. Annalisa the Anteater. I'm a sucker for these. What are these alliterations? These alliteration names. Annalisa the Anteater would not know what it meant, what it means. You know, she would say it, and then you'd be like, "That's this," and she'd be like, "No, that's not. What? No, that's not it." And then you'd have to like pull up like a Google thing, and she'd be like, "Oh, ooh, my bad." Annalise is a horse, and I believe Annalise would say it to your face. I believe Annalise would look at you and would say it to your face. Again, wouldn't need to repeat it, wouldn't need to be subtle. It would just be dropped in a sentence. You'd say, Annalise, you can't say that. And she's like, then why did it come out of my mouth? Boom. And then she'd do like a fake mic drop, but it'd be really hard because she has hooves, so she'd have to like do like this, you know? That's what would happen. Another anteater, Antonio. Antonio's a jock. I would say would not, and would be shook at the idea of it, but not in the way that Anka is, where she's like, how could you say that? But he'd be like, whoa, bruh. People say, what? That's crazy. Then we got Apollo. Apollo's a hard one for me. I had Apollo at one point on my island. Now here's okay, all right, I'm gonna need chat to jump in for this one, because I do think Apollo was a good villager, he's a good neighbor, but Apollo is also kind of very USA coded, and he's born on the 4th of July, and he's like the very American character, and as we know, America as a country is a little problematic, and so I feel like because a representation of America, and Americans in general. I say this as an American. I think he would and would repeat it. I believe that he would in the way that maybe he's like an older guy. So back in the day, you could say that and not get in trouble. But like you're like, Apollo, you can't say that anymore. And he's like, well, darn tootin' I can. You know, I think that he would repeat it, and he would stand by it. And if you told him you can't do that, he would be, you're like trying to, he would say something like, oh, so people can't be funny anymore, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, Bond, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Apple, I also have. Apple 100% would whisper it. I said this as someone who has her as a villager. Apple would 100% on your way out be like, you say what? She goes, what? Okay, I'll see you later. Bye-bye. She's peppy. She's happy. She's so sweet. And she would call you a slur. But she wouldn't do it directly. You know, you'd be at the door. She'd be like, she'd whisper and you'd say what? And she'd say what? And that's the win, you know? That'd be her. Astrid, kangaroo, I believe would not. Again, Astrid, I believe. Astrid's got also like a little baby situation going on here. I would actually say Astrid would not be shook because Astrid's got like a child there. So she's like, first of all, why are you bringing that word up around my child? What are you trying to teach him? And then, you know, that would eventually, what's going on with my little dog ear here? Can we even these out, please? Hold on. I'm being vain. I have to be vain. Does that look even? There we go. All right. Yeah, would be shook. I would be like, don't say that to me ever again. Audie would not and would throw hands at somebody who did. She's giving homeschool parent. I agree. Astrid, very homeschool parent. Audie would not and would throw hands at someone. If Audie was like, who said that to you? Baby girl, who said that to you? Come over here. She would ask for names. She would ask for numbers. And then she wouldn't say anything else. And then you'd find out something happened to that person. You'd be like, Audie, was that you? And she'd be like, no, that's crazy, you know, but it was absolutely her. Aurora would not. Aurora's nice. Aurora's sweet. Aurora, again, look at those eyes. No thoughts, head empty. I don't think she knows enough, and like, you know what I mean? It's just not there for her. It's just not there for her. Ava, we got a chicken, Ava. We got, oh my God, you guys were homeschooled? Ben was homeschooled, but I was also homeschooled. Can I get a Let's Go Pro Gamer for the homeschoolers in the chat? Look at our lack of social skills have got us all here together. Wow. I'm gonna say also would not. Ava's like, Ava would not. Ava's like, yeah, I was. You didn't know that, Bond? I was absolutely homeschooled. Hi, Fable. Welcome in. You're just in time. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with Where'd my other? There we go. That go. Fantastic. Yeah, would not really strong opinions. Avery would whisper it. You know, it'd be a little bit like, and then be like, oh, what? No, I didn't say anything for sure. And we got our last two A names. We got Axel. Amazing name, of course. Axel is a jock. I believe that Axel would not and would cry. I believe that he not only would not call you that, but he would burst into tears at the, this does not feel even. It's driving me crazy. That's definitely not even. I made it worse. You guys, stop. I'm so vain. I would really like it. I know, it's crazy. But then he would cry. He'd cry for you. He'd cry with you. I don't see Azalea here. All right, well, Azalea's somewhere in here, but let's go back to another one of these. We're gonna go with Blathers. Yeah, we'll do a little Blathers run, if you will. I think it's about time. Where's Blathers? Did I forget him? No, he's there. Oh, thank God. I'm like, oh no. Let me think. Oh, Fable, you're just in time. This tier list is which Animal Crossing character is most likely to call you a slur. So welcome. All right. I gotta think about this one. Blathers. He's another one I would say wouldn't know what it means. In fact, Celeste would probably be the one to be like, hey, that's not cool. And he'd be like, what? He's another one. Oh, actually, Jan, that's a good point. He would cry. I'm going to change it. He would not, and he would cry. He would cry at the idea of it. He would cry. He would probably punish himself. He'd probably go into the bug exhibit that he hates and be like, I'm going to stay in here for 1 hour as punishment for you even thinking that I did this. For me appearing to be that kind of person. You know, and then he would probably start like a museum event about kindness and like kind words and caring words and being careful what you say. Yeah, that's what I think. Barbara would deny it. Barbara would say it and you'd say, did you say that? And she'd say, no, I didn't say that. Bam would not. Bam doesn't care enough. Bam, you know what I mean? Bam knows the words. He's heard the words, but like, he doesn't, you know, he's like, I don't want to say them. I don't need that. Bangle, I do love Bangle. Bangle's another one who would not and would cry. Bangle's a sweetheart. Actually, I always wish I had Bangle on my island. She was so sweet. My friend had Bangle and I loved her. But Bangle, again, would cry for you, with you, at the idea of it. Controversial, we got Barreled. Barreled, everyone's least favorite ugly villager. You're all gonna hate this one. Barreled would not and would throw hands at somebody who did. Barreled has been called every name in the book. Okay, Barreled has been through it as a creature. He's been kicked out of islands. He's been harassed. He's been, you know, he hadn't had an easy life, you know? And so when he hears that you've also been like ostracized, he would go to fight for your honor. And then he would get his ass beat. He would end up broken bones. You know, he's not a good fighter, but he would do it for the principle of it. And then he'd want to make a friendship thing of like, it's okay, we'll stick together. And then like everybody else in the Animal Crossing universe, you'd probably be like, that's okay. Why don't you leave my island? And he'd be like, oh, okay. You know, very sad, but true. B would, but would deny it. B would, but would deny it. Berto absolutely wouldn't repeat it. Same thing as Apollo. Berto is old, and Berto, again, back in Berto's day, yeah, that was a cool thing to say. That was fine. You're trying to wokeify him. You know, that's just how people spoke. That's what I think. Bo's another one I know pretty well. Bo, I think, would whisper it. You know, again, subtly. Bo would be like, and you wouldn't know, but you'd know, but then he wouldn't admit it, and you can't prove it. And he knows you can't prove it. In fact, he might drop it a couple times because he knows that it's going to make you feel like it's like you're crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of a game for him. It's kind of a fun little thing. Nobody can prove it. Nobody knows. No, but listen. These are the hard takes someone's got to have. We got Becky. Becky is a chicken. Becky would on the internet. But sold. Becky would on the internet. Becky, again, she's a Redditor. She's got a whole she's got a blog, probably. You know, she's in person. Again, she's like, I would never say that, but then she goes online and commits atrocities. Bella, okay, so I had Bella in New Leaf. Loved Bella. I thought a lot about Bella, right, as I always do. Bella would not and would throw hands at somebody who did, because Bella at the end of the day is punk rock, and being offensive and being racist and calling slurs is not very punk rock. Okay, you guys know like what Gerard Way, where you know he gets on stage, he makes a lot of very bold statements about like be a good fucking person. It's not that hard. That's Bella. Bella would crash out. Bella would go to their house and kill them with her guitar. No, she wouldn't kill them, because if she killed them, they wouldn't learn from their mistake, but she would make them suffer, and then she'd like have a concert, and then during her concert, she would like call them out publicly, make sure everybody knew that they were a horrible person. Benedict would whisper it. Benedict was whisper it, but then be like, just kidding, you didn't hear anything. Benjamin would not. He just wouldn't. He's a golden retriever, literally. Would not, could not, should not. Actually would not and doesn't know what it means, I would go as far to say. Bertha would not and would be shook. Bettina. Bettina. There's a lot of things I could do with you, Bettina. There's a lot of thoughts I'm having about you, Bettina. Bettina, I think... I just think would not. Bettina wouldn't have any strong reaction. Bettina might just be like, oh, that sucks that happened, but she's not going to say it, you know. Bianca, another one a friend had who I loved. But I think that Bianca would but wouldn't know what it means. Bianca would do it and then be like, what? Who? What? And then she wouldn't cry, but she'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, so my bad. And that's how she would handle that situation. All right, let's go to Booker. This is going to be an easy one for me. They are dogs, and we love that, but they're also cops. I believe Booker would say it to your face. You know, a cop is a cop. Listen, I believe Booker would say it to your face, and he believes he has the cop privilege to do that and get away with it. You know what I mean? I believe, again, Booker and his friend, what's his friend? A Copper. You know, they're nice. They were funny characters, but like I think that they would say it. They have that kind of feeling of white privilege. You know. I'm gonna stand by that. And Brewster as well. Let's get Brewster in here. Brewster is a very easy one. Brewster would not and would throw hands at somebody who did. Brewster would be like, he's kind of the quiet mafia kind of type, like Audie, you know, where he's like, you're crying, you're having like, you know, your coffee at the Roost, and like maybe someone says it in front of him and he just like is cleaning his cup and he pauses and looks up and then he keeps cleaning it, and then like he puts a laxative in their coffee next time. He doesn't need to go after them because the Roost is the place to be. They'll be back. He just makes them the worst cup of coffee. Everyone's like, the Roost is so good, and the guy who called you a slur is like, well, I don't know, guys, it's not that good, you know, it's really bad. Everyone's like, no, that's just a you issue. It's just a you issue. Everyone else loves it. And then it would also make them go a little bit crazy and seem crazy, and he would love that. And that's honestly diabolical, and I'm impressed. All right, Biff the Hippo. Biff the Hippo would but wouldn't know what it means. Classic jock behavior. Big Top looks so sad. I'm going to say would not. Wouldn't cry. He cries about everything else, so he doesn't need to cry about this. You know, he's already crying probably as we get there. Bill would whisper it. Bill would, you know, and you wouldn't know what's coming for sure. Billy also gives me the vibes of would say it to your face. He seems like an older guy. And an older guy who would be like, you know, oh, that's just what we said. Like, he came from a different kind of small town. That was how they talked, and he's not willing to give that up yet. I don't know that he means it. Like, it is a bad thing to say, but, you know, he's just uneducated, if we will. Biscuit would say it on the internet, but not in person. You know, he's got a Twitter account. He goes a little crazy, but you can't really attach it to him. You can't tell that it's him. Biddy the Hippo. Biddy the Hippo, I think, would whisper it to you. No, I think Biddy would, but would deny it. Biddy would say it loud, and you'd say, what? And then they'd say, I didn't say that. You're crazy, and gaslight you about it. So would, but would gaslight you. And Blair... Blair would also say it. I'm going to say it. Blair would also say it and then immediately deny it. Yeah, right? This is the gaslighting tier. 7, that's correct. Blair would say it, but then be like, I didn't say that. No, that's crazy. Gaslighting tier for sure. Blanche is classy. Blanche would not and would throw hands, but again, in a classy way. You know what I mean? Blanche would start spreading like gossip about them at their local like elite tea club. like, did you hear about so and so? And so it would get back, like, people start avoiding that person, you know? That's what I think about Blanche. Blue Bear would and doesn't know what it means. Blue Bear heard it somewhere. Blue Bear is a sweetheart. Blue Bear, you know, thinks it's maybe a cool new slang, and you say, Blue Bear, that's not what it means. She goes, oh, and gets really quiet. And it goes, my bad, you know, feels bad. Bob would say it and repeat it. Just because he's kind of an IRL rage baiter. I think he says controversial things not because he necessarily believes them or stands by them, but because they're problematic, and he likes being a little problematic. He likes stirring the pot, as they speak, even in the worst ways. You're like, Bob, there's other ways that you can, like, create a little drama and not be so problematic, but he doesn't want that. He wants to be problematic. That's kind of where he's at. Bon would whisper it for sure. Again, she's a sweetheart. You're on your way at the door. As another noise is being said, she whispers, and then you just, she's like, I didn't say that. I never said that. Bones, ooh. I think Bones is too lazy to. I just say Bones would not. He's too lazy to say it, and he's too lazy to defend you from someone saying it. He's like, that sucks, and he's off with his life. Boomer, Boomer would deny it, you know, for sure. Maybe even I would say would in private, you know, would in private say it, but maybe not like publicly. So like, unless you had a camera in his house, which would be crazy, but you do you know, you wouldn't know. Boone, I'm gonna say, again, wouldn't know what it means. He heard it somewhere. He thinks it's probably fine. When he finds out, he feels a little bad, but mostly is confused about words in general and how words work. Boots would not. Boots is a cool guy. He's a cool alligator. Boots is, you know, Boots just, he doesn't have it in him. He doesn't need that. Boris would and would repeat it. Boris would say it, would repeat it, would say it to your face, would call your mom on the phone and say it to your mom about you. For sure. He's angry, he's upset, he's got a lot of issues. But the mayors, oh, don't worry, we got him down here. The player's character, that depends on you. You're the player technically, you know, in my mind. All right, let's get through the B's. Boyd would say it to your face. Again, wouldn't repeat it. He'd just say it loud and proud. Bree's another one who's on the internet shitposting. Bree's on the internet, typing it up. You can't trace it back to her. Bracolo would not and would cry. It would cry for a million different, it would be so upset for you, for him, for everything. Bracolo's a cool guy and very sensitive, and you know that's important. Brofina would whisper it again. Probably would gossip about it. Actually, I'd probably put it in the would but would deny it, because we're in the gaslighter phase of things, you know. Very gaslighting. She would but would deny it. She'd whisper it. She'd spread rumors about it. You know, if you see a favorite character, pop in. Give me your takes. Bruce. God, there's so many of these bitches. Bruce would whisper it for sure. Bubbles. I think Bubbles would say it to your face. Again, Bubbles would be like, I said what I said. Deal, you know. Buck, I had Buck in a later game, so I feel like I can very solidly say that Buck would not only say it but would repeat it multiple times. And if you said, Buck, you can't say that, he would go buck wild, so to speak, and go a little bit like ape shit crazy, you know. I think that he would he again, different generation, not an excuse, but that's his excuse. What he says, he has no willingness to learn or grow, you know. He just is one of the worst people you'll ever meet. Sorry, worst horses you'll ever meet. Be respectful here. Bud would not and would be shook. He'd be like, whoa, man, what? For real? Bunny would whisper it. I don't care what you say. Bunny, again, Bunny and Apple in that same kind of category of like, and then like, you know, they go on. Butch is a little cranky, but I'm going to say would not for the same reason that Butch is like, doesn't care enough either way. Wouldn't feel bad for you, wouldn't say it to you. He's got his own life. And finally for the B's, we got Buzz. And Buzz is another shit poster on the internet. Yeah, that feels good. That feels good. All right, moving down, let's get some CJ on here. CJ, our fishing master. I gotta think about this. I don't think he would. I don't think he... I'm tempted to just say would not. I don't think he'd be shook. I don't think he'd throw hands for you. I don't think he'd cry. I just think he would be like, oh, that's crazy that someone would say that. Look at this cool tuna I caught, you know? Like, he's got other priorities. If you said something like a slur about a fish, that'd be like, then he'd throw hands, but... you know, that's as far as he goes. Wow, Bond, I love that for you. Bond's like, whatever you want to call me, just call me for dinner. I like that. Yeah, he's an internet guy. Yeah, so he knows what it means. He knows it's bad. He just wouldn't say it. Celeste, where's Celeste? Where are you, girl? Oh, let's crack our neck. Celeste. Where is she? Do I not have her? Where is she? Am I scrolling right over her? I know I saw her. There she is. Celeste would not and would throw hands. Celeste, again, is the one going to Blathers and was like, that's not what that means. And Blathers is now punishing himself. And she's like, you don't have to do that, Blathers. That's a little extreme. He's like, no, I must. But she would throw hands. She would have something to say. She would have a problem with it. She would, it'd be an issue for her. And you know, like, she would probably consult the stars and be like, what's their star sign? And then gives them like a bad astrology reading, but makes it happen. So, yeah, Bond's right. She's the one girl who tries really hard not to offend anybody, for sure. She's very conscious of that. Yeah. She's been around, exactly. She's a sweetheart. Callie would deny it. Again, Callie spreading gossips. Callie's a gaslighter. Camo Frog, I'm gonna say 100% would say it to your face, and then tell you that's just a part of life. That's just life. That's just life, buddy. That's the words. You gotta get used to it. That's his excuse for it. You know, that's what he'd say. Canberra would not. M would throw hands. M would actually maybe come, like, she's strong. So she's a good ally to have on your side. Candy, again, I'm gonna say internet. Candy's an internet poster. She's so sweet, right? So you would never think about it, but then she's out there on Reddit, on Twitter, just saying shit. Carmen, I'm gonna say would not and would cry. Carmen would not and would cry for multiple reasons. Invite you over for tea, you know what I mean? Help you out. You know, have a cute little self-care sleepover to try to make you feel better about what was said. Caroline, I'm gonna say would not and would be shook. Caroline's gonna be like, what? You know, she wouldn't say it, but she would be shook. Carrie, again, another kangaroo, would not and would be shook, but for the same reason as the first kangaroo. Why are you even saying this or implying this around my 5-year-old kangaroo baby? You know, that's crazy. So, you know, she's not here for this. Kashmir would, but would deny it. He gives rich people privilege vibes, you know what I mean? Like, he would say it in a, no, and you'd say, did you say that? He goes, oh no, of course not. How could you say that about me? You know, and he'd make it about, like, himself. and then he'd turn it on you. Very toxic, very toxic. Let's see, Celia. Oh, Celia, I did have her once. She's a sweetheart. Would not and would be shook. Would not and would be like, oh my God, what? Somebody said that to you? That's absolutely crazy. All right. Let's go to our next one. What's our next NPC? We got Copper. Again, they're cops. I don't know what to tell you. Would say, as same thing as me, would say it to your face. Probably was trained in that language, you know, in the academy. Probably doesn't even know, but like it's gonna stick by it. You know, a little sad, but you know, it is what it is. Cesar, how we doing? We're doing good so far. Good weekend, good week last week. Cute look today that I got going on. I'm very happy with how this turned out. Good dog and Oreo. I made a really great, what was it? Like a grilled wrap for my meal prep, and that turned out fucking fantastic, which makes me feel awesome because, you know, I make a lot of meal preps. They don't always turn out good. So it's always a great thing. So far, knock on wood, good start. Tomorrow is a writing day. We're writing more sketches and you know, and Lance might be, I don't want to spoil anything. Lance might be, you know, showing up with something with me at the end of this month. You know, I can't say anything else, but Lance might be seeing Lance sometimes. I don't know. You know, I don't want to spoilers. But yeah, so far so good. We're ranking. It's going a lot faster. You know, there's so many of these guys. There's a lot of these guys. So for some of them, we gotta decide. But Lance, how are you? How are you doing? Cesar would not and would be shook. Cesar would not and would be shook. Cheddar would on the internet, but not in person. But I'm putting all the mice in here. Hold on, that feels bad. No, I have a mouse down here. Yeah, I'm down here. Okay, it's not all the mice, but Cheddar just strikes me someone who would on the internet, shit poster, thinks it's funny, thinks it's okay, you know, like everyone says it on the internet, so it doesn't really mean anything, and that's his excuse. Chai, my sweetheart, would not and would be shook. Would not and would be shook that you thought that of her, that you accused that someone, you know, talked to her about that. Might get captured. Anyway, shh, you don't know that. Charlize wouldn't be sad, wouldn't be angry. I just would not do it. Chelsea, oh, Chelsea's not down here. Okay, we'll come back to Chelsea when we find her. But Cherry would but wouldn't know what it means. Cherry's trying to be cool. Cherry's trying to fit in. Cherry's trying really, really, really hard to fit in, actually. Cherry really wants to fit in. So she hears someone saying it and goes, that's the new slang. Again, you're like, Cherry, that's not it. And she's like, oh shit, my bad. That's Cherry. Cherry's one I also have. Cherry's also very punk rock, but I don't think she'd throw hands like Bella would. Bella would throw hands. Cherry, I think, would be shook. You know, Cherry would be shook, but like, she wouldn't do it. She's not that kind of dog, you know? Chester would not and would cry. Chester not only wouldn't, but would be in tears. Oh, you have Cherry too? Hey! Would be in tears, would be devastated. And Chevray, wouldn't know what it means. Chevray's well-meaning. Chevray's just kind of like, oh shoot, my bad, and then moves on. Doesn't feel that bad about it. It's like, well, I know now. So, Chief. Listen, you might not like it, but I think Chief would say it to your face. Chief strikes, he's a high up, like, executive type person. He's rich, he's got money, he's got power, was probably raised on that silver spoon. I'm painting a picture for him right now. And I just believe that he gets away with saying a lot of stuff, you know, due to his privilege. And so he would say it and he would not feel bad about it. Chops would not in general. Wouldn't cry, wouldn't be mad. He just would not. Chow would not and would throw hands. But not because Chow necessarily is offended for you, but because Chow just likes to throw hands in general. Chow is looking for a fight, whoever you may be. You know, it doesn't matter what the motivation is. Chow is like, we're going. Chow wants a fight. Chrissy I also had. Chrissy would but would deny it. Listen, Chrissy's a sweetheart. Again, I think Chrissy would be gossiping, and it would kind of get around that she said that. You'd say, Chrissy, did you say that about me? And she'd be like, what? No. And then she'd be like, who told? Who told on me? Okay? Because I don't say those things. I just said it the one time. It was different. But she did say it. And, you know. Claude. Another internet shit poster. Claude is another internet shit poster. I'm just saying. And Claudia. Just simply would not. Claudia's got enough on her plate. Okay? She doesn't have time to defend you or attack you. You tell her this happened and she's like, oh, well, that is, that's unfortunate. That's kind of the length of her care, you know? She's like, damn, crazy. Clay would not and would cry. So assuming, thank you. We're here to make harsh, fast judgments. Clay would not and would cry. Cleo is a horse and would whisper it. That's my reasoning, is that she's a horse, so she would whisper it. Clyde would not know what it means. He's just a little stupid. Coach, I think Coach would and would repeat it. You know, he would and he would stand by it. He would and he would stand by what he says. Cobb would and would repeat it. Cobb scares me. Cobb freaks me out a little bit. Cobb might say it just to get your reaction, just to see what would happen. You know, just to, again, rage baiting in real life. Coco would not and would cry. Yeah, Coco would cry from her hollow eyes. Coco would not and would be so upset and offended. She'd be devastated. Cole just would not. Cole doesn't care either way. Cole's, Cole just like, you know what I mean? It doesn't care either way. We're gonna go back to another one. We're gonna go back to Cyrus now. Let's find Cyrus over here. Cyrus is another one I believe would but wouldn't know what it means. You know, again, he's a funny guy to me. Love him and his wife. He would not know what it means. And his wife would have to be like, sweetie, you can't say that. He's like, what? Oh my God. He'd feel bad. He would write, Reese would tell him, he'd write you a handwritten apology letter with like a coupon for the shop. And by the way, so, okay, I'm going to tell you my horse beef really quick. Everyone's like, why are you saying they're a horse and that's enough? So you should know that I have a friend who a horse gave birth on, and that started the beef. A horse gave birth on top of my friend, and then the friend was told they could not move because it would spook the horse. So they had to sit there for hours at 2 a.m. covered in horse baby and afterbirth and all the stuff that happens when a horse, I know I'm 100% serious right now, that gives birth for probably 5 or 6 hours. And then they didn't have a shower at the farm. So in order to clean them off, they just hosed them off, clothes and all, gave him a towel and sent him home. And we're like, thanks for assisting with the horse birth. And no, that's a crazy ass story. It is a crazy story. I was friends with them when that happened. Like, they called me the next day and were like, I'm traumatized, and told me what was going on. I know, literally, it's a whole thing. So when I say it's a horse, like, there's beef with horses for a reason. All right, like a horse traumatized my friend. And so, well, I don't have as much beef with horses as my friend does. I definitely, like, I'm weary of horses, you know? A horse, guys, at any given moment, a horse might show up at your door, break in, and then give birth on you. And you have to sit there and take it. And that's nothing you can do. So, you know what? Keep that in mind. You know, I believe in horse rights, but not necessarily horse wrongs. So, but don't you usually have beef with cows? Wow, Jen, that was good. That was a good one. You ever considered a career in comedy? Wow. Wow. We should all have beef with horses. Yeah. You were traumatized by, see? A horse almost ran you over. Horses are crazy. Do you know there's more horse-related deaths than, was it shark-related deaths? Horse-related deaths than... Horses have caused more deaths than some of Australia's most venomous animals like snakes, spiders, and bees. Horses are considered more dangerous than sharks. Yeah, no, I'm saying horses are actually, they're very OP and they're kind of crazy. So, that's what I'm saying. Horses, be wary. Be wary of the horses. They, you know what I mean? They're not always looking for your best interests. On that one, Colton would not and would be shook. I'll give this. You wrote this now. Would not and would be shook. Colton would not only not call you it, but then would be shook that somebody would call you that. We got Cookie. Cookie is so sweet. Cookie would, again, does not know what it means. Means well. Cousteau. Would not and would throw hands. Would not. Cousteau strikes me as Italian. I don't know, they don't really have like places they're from, you know, they're ambiguous, but he strikes me as an Italian, and he'd be like, Mamma mia! First, he would have to like make a pizza about it, then he would have to make spaghetti about it, and then he would have to burn down that person's house. That is Editor Brisk is Italian. I'm sure Editor Brisk is going to put a video of himself in right now, probably saying that that's exactly how it goes, and that's exactly like when his blood boils, that's his first instincts. So thank you, Brisk Apollo, Editor Brisk, for confirming and telling me that I'm right. I love being right. Cranston, Wood doesn't know what it means. My mom had Cranston. Cranston is a funny guy. Cranston is he is a hysterical villager. If you are still playing, get Cranston as a villager. He's weird. He's great. He's fun. He's a funky dude. Again, he wouldn't know what it means, would feel bad afterwards. I have to take for the J's. Yeah, Jan, I bet you do. Croquet! Would not and would cry. He doesn't seem like it, but very emotional guy. Cube is an internet shit poster. Look at this row of internet shit posters right here, you guys. Look out for these guys, all right? The internet shit posters and the gaslighters. That's who you gotta really look out for. Carlos, I believe, would whisper it. You know, you wouldn't be able to call him on it. Wouldn't really be able to know. Curly, I say would and would deny it. Another gaslighter for you. But there is my favorite Animal Crossing character, which is Editor Brisk Apollo. Where I think Editor Brisk falls on this specifically is would not and would throw hands at somebody who did. Editor Brisk would not only be offended for you, be offended because it happened, be angry, be sad. He might cry a little bit too. He's in touch with his emotions. But he would then also throw hands. Again, we got the Italians here. He would make a pizza, he would make spaghetti, he would burn down their house. Again, Editor Brisk, I'm sure you're going to come here right now and tell me I'm right, and that you agree. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sid, we have Kurt first. Kurt absolutely would and would repeat it. Kurt would say it, stand by it, repeat it, rinse and repeat it, wash it, dry it, buy before you try it, all those things. What animal is Brisk? Italian. I thought that was clear. He's Italian. He's the Italian animal. Hold on. What animals are in Italy? They got bears, they got wolves, they got ibex, they got vultures. What are Italians known for? I'm gonna say he's a fox. He's a little Italian fox. That's what I'm gonna say. That's my Brisk assignment. Sid, internet shitposter. Look at his face. He's like, heh, 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 a little smug. Internet shitposter Sid. Cyrano would not. Doesn't care either way. Daisy would, but again, wouldn't know what it means. She's very sweet. I love Daisy. Never had Daisy, but I do think she's a sweetheart. Yeah, she just doesn't know what it means. She's never, it's not really in her vocabulary, and then you tell her and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Dina would not and would cry. She would cry. She'd be devastated. Deirdre, I believe Deirdre just would not. Deirdre would not. Doesn't care much either way. Dell, where are you? Who are you? I don't have you, monkey. We're gonna put you down here. We'll get to this guy later. Dell, I would say. Oh, that was Delio. He's next. Okay, Dell, I would say. I would say would not. Dell would not. Dell's got no reason to say that. We got Deli. That's who's next. Deli's another internet shitposter. I believe Deli would on the internet, but then deny it. Then he would absolutely deny it. Derwin would not and would cry. Diana is another one. She's a gaslighter. She, again, I would say, actually I put her in the would deny it category because she's like Chrissy, where like she's probably at the tea time with Chrissy and they're like sharing it and then it gets passed around and she's like, I didn't say this, who said I said this? She's gonna deny it, but she absolutely did say it. Diva, Diva's such a diva though. Diva would not and would be shook and would be a diva about it. Ha ha ha, literally. Dizzy would not and would be shook as well. Would not, would be shook. Okay, Dobie. All right, Dobie. I have Dobie in my village. So I have to be completely honest about this one. Dobie absolutely would and would repeat it. I love Dobie, but again, he's an old guy. And, he doesn't really want to learn the new ways. And he is not really... You know what I mean? Like it's not that it's like out of meanness. It's out of willingness to learn. It's out of lack of intelligence. He's not smart enough to learn past when he was raised, and he doesn't care to, which I think is a fault in a personality. But because of that, he would say it. He would repeat it. He'd probably be like, "Well, back in my day, Doc would not and would be shook. Dom I have. Dom I love. Dom would not and would cry." You would think Dom would not and would throw hands, but you would be incorrect. Dom would not and he would sob about it. Dom actually quickly became one of my favorite villagers in the new game. He's so funny. But he would be like, he would cry and say, I'm gonna go use my muscles and I'm gonna go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And you'd be like, it's okay, Dom. And then you would have to comfort him. And you'd have to get him a little treat to calm down. So, yeah, that's 100% Dom. Let's see. Daisy May. Where's Daisy May? Daisy May is young, but I believe that Daisy May would whisper it. You can argue with me all you want. I believe that Daisy May would 100% under her breath, I think she just, wouldn't say to your face, wouldn't say it on the internet. It just kind of, maybe she would think it really loud, but she knows she can't say it, but like, Dora would not and would cry, period. Dottie, wouldn't know what it means. Drago would not and would throw hands. Would not and would get mad about it. But he's lazy, so like his anger is like, whoa. All right, here's what we gotta do. We're gonna order a pizza. We're gonna watch a really good TV show. We're gonna get our mind off it. But he's gonna do it angrily. Yeah, exactly, Fable, exactly. Daisy May hangs around with a lot of villagers. She's heard a lot of words, all right? Drake would and would say it to your face and would repeat it 100%. Drift, I believe Drift would say it to your face, but he'd say it with a smile. He'd be like, oh, this, like, he knows what it means. He just choosing to believe it doesn't mean that. And when you say that's what it means, he goes, nah, don't worry about it. You're like, don't worry about what? You can't say that. Oh, we got Emo Horse Ed. I'm gonna say would not and would cry. Would not, and again would be devastated. Listen to the Black Parade about it to feel better. Egbert simply would not. Egbert's got his own stuff going on. Elise absolutely is a gaslighter. So Elise is one that would say it and then would deny it. Elise and Chrissy and Diana, this is their lunch, that they get together and they say atrocities and then deny that they did it, but then tell on each other. That's their hobby. That is their hobby. All right, we got Digby up next. Digby. Digby would, but would deny it. Digby's not in the club with the others. Digby just, like, in a private conversation with his sister, they both, like, said it, you know, and as siblings, they're not gonna tell on each other. But if you overheard and asked, he'd be like, what? No, what? What are you talking about? That's crazy. I would never say that's, oh my God. You know, he'd be really, like, upset, you know, performatively upset. Not really. He'd just be more upset that you heard, and he'd be like, I gotta be quieter. Make sure the door's closed next time. Let's see. Ellie would not and would not care either way. Elmer also would not care either way. Eloise would whisper it. She'd whisper it. Again, you couldn't, what'd you say? What? We don't know. Elvis would say it to your face. He's dressed as, like, a dictator, as, like, a king, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I know it's supposed to be king of the jungle, but he's clearly, he likes the abuse of power. I think he would say it to make himself feel better than everybody else, you know? And they'd all cancel him, and then he would be like, whatever, that's the life of a, you know, powerful person, and he'd probably, like, go into his feelings about it, and nobody cared because they'd be like, Elvis, you're kind of a shit person or lion, and he'd keep going. You know, he just moved from island to island until he gets kicked out every single time. Eric wouldn't be upset either way. He'd be like, that's a bummer. Etoile, I can never say her name. Etoile, oh, where is she? We'll find her later. All right, Eugene would say it to your face. Like, he'd say it on stage. Eugene would take a microphone and he'd be performing, and he'd say, and you over there, and just call you a slur in the middle of the show. That's him. Jan, I'm worried about your taste in villagers, actually. It's concerning. Eunice would not. Again, Eunice stays out of that side of things. Fang. I believe that he would not, and he would throw hands. Fang not only would not, Fang would go to bat for you. Fauna, a friend also has, Fauna would, but doesn't know what it means. You know, Fauna heard it somewhere. Fauna thinks it's a fun little word. You tell her, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She might say it 1 or 2 more times, though, and use the excuse, I didn't know what it meant. And then after 3 or 4 times, she'll be like, okay, I'm not going to say it anymore. But she'd do it 2 or 3 times first. Felicity, just simply would not. Felicity would mind her business. Filbert also would not. Would mind his business. All right. Rossetti, hold on. I feel like there's I'm gonna add a row above, and that row is just gonna be the Rossetti row. Because, I mean, did I just change all of these? Rossetti would absolutely say it. Rossetti would say worse things than slurs. There's nothing Rossetti wouldn't say. Oh, that's his brother. They want Rossetti. There's nothing Rossetti wouldn't say. There are no limits for Rossetti. There's no guilt for Rossetti. There's no, issue for Rossetti. Rossetti doesn't care about that you cancel him. Doesn't care. Like, Rossetti doesn't give a fuck. He gives a fuck if you quit without saving. If you do that, he's on your ass. He'll call you every name in the book. He'll make up names. He'll call you slurs you didn't know existed. All right? Like, he doesn't give a fuck. You should have saved your game. All right? If you save your game, he won't call you anything to your face. So simply save your game and you don't have to worry about it. Easy. Easy. Flip, internet shit poster for sure for Flip. Flo's very punk rock. I don't think she'd go to bat for you. I think she just would not do it. Just simply would not. Flora's also a sweetheart. I think Flora would not and would be shook. Flurry would whisper it. Flurry would like under their breath for sure. Frank, I think 100% would say it to your face. Frank's gonna say it, but Frank's gonna own up to it. You know what I mean? He's like, if I'm gonna say it, I'll say it was me. And that is a weird respect about that I have. Freckles, I would say would not and would cry. Would not and would cry and would be very emotional. I don't see Fret anywhere. Freya's in the Gaslighter Club. Freya would deny it. Freya's at the luncheon with the other three. The other four, actually. No, the other three. And she's one of the ones at the luncheon who's, they're saying things that they don't want repeated. And of course, they all repeated about each other. That's how it goes. Frigga! Frigga would say it to your face. Frigga's, yeah, she'd be like, just so you know, I think this of you. And then she'd walk away. And she'd stand by it. I think Frida would cry. If someone said that to you, Frida would be very upset and would absolutely cry. Dr. Shrunk, which by the way is an axolotl. I don't know why I never put that together until literally 2 days ago. Dr. Shrunk would not and would be shook. I think as a mental health professional, he wants to be there for you, but first he would be like, I can't believe that happened to you, and he'd like really be like, oh my god, I can't believe. And then we talk about it. We have some therapy about it at that point. I'm also gonna bring Flick up here. Flick is also very punk rock. Where are you, Flick? Where are you, Flick? Okay, here we go. But Flick would cry. Flick would want to... We do a speed running. Flick would want to go to bat for you. Flick would want to fight for you. But Flick is an emotional guy. So he's like Dom, where he's gonna cry and be like, I will go beat him up. And then you're like, no, it's okay. It's okay, Flick, you don't have to do that. And then he would like catch you like a beetle and be like, I got you a really cool beetle. Whether you like that beetle or not, it's a gift of love. Frogbert would say it, doesn't know what he means. Whoa, Bond! Yeah, Flick and CJ are into some weird stuff, as we know. Fuchsia, another one, is a gaslighter, and would deny it. She's at the table having tea. All right. We've got Gabby. Gabby would not. Gabby's minding their business. Gala absolutely would not and would be shook. What do you think of her? She'd make it about her, though. Like, how could you accuse me of that? All right, Franklin, the Thanksgiving turkey, would not and would cry. He's been called a lot of things, okay? Look at how sad he is. He's been through a lot. People try to eat him every year. So he would cry for you, with you. He's probably being called it at the same time as you. There's a solidarity there. It's a bummer, but at least you're all in this together, as they say. Gaston would say it to your face. Wouldn't repeat it, but he'd say it to your Rossetti has his own category. Would say it to your face. Oh, Gail. Gail is so sweet. But I believe she doesn't feel any certain way. She just would not. Genji would on the internet. Absolute internet shit poster. Yeah, he's been called, exactly, Bond. Franklin's been called dinner plenty of times. Like, he understands the pain. Gigi is at the table of gaslighters. Would deny it, would say it, would deny it. Gladys, another one a friend of mine has, very sweet, would not and would be shook at the idea of it, shook at the idea. All right, let's go to Gracie, the fashion designer. Gracie would say it to your face, but only if you're dressed poorly, okay? If you're dressed poorly, she'd be like, I can call you whatever I want because you don't matter as a person. You have... you've hurt you've hurt humanity and species and the world by what you're wearing. So there are no consequences to my actions of saying this about you. But if you change, she'd stop calling you, names, for sure. Gloria again is at the table. All right, would say it, would deny it. Goldie I had for a while. She's a sweetheart. Not only would she not say it, she would cry. Let's see. Gonzo, again, would say it, would repeat it multiple times. Goose, I'm going to say would say it, but does not know what it means. Graham would say it on the internet. Like, look at him. Look at his face. Graham's absolutely on the internet saying shit and thinking he can get away with it. Greta, I also had... Greta, I'm going to put in would not, because she doesn't care, she's minding her business. Grizzly is another one, would say it and would repeat it, would say it and would stand by it. Groucho would not and would throw hands at anybody who said it. Gruff would whisper it. Under his breath, he'd whisper it. Grams, where's Grams? Grams absolutely, I might even put her in the Rossetti category, actually. I might put Grams there. Grams is old as fuck. Grams gonna say whatever she wants. Grams doesn't give a fuck, okay? Grams is, she's old, she's rich, she owns an island. Her family makes excuses for her. They say things like, oh, she's old, she doesn't know any better. She knows better. She actively knows better and chooses to do it anyway. Because she's like, I'm gonna die soon anyway, fuck it. Very problematic, in my opinion. All right, we've got Gwen. Gwen would not and would throw hands at somebody who did. Hamlet would, but he doesn't know what it means. Hamfree would whisper it. He's a whisperer, for sure. Hans, I think, would say it and repeat it. Would say it and repeat it. Harry would not. Harry's got other things going on. Harry's not unbothered. Hazel would not and would throw hands for you. Okay, would not and would throw hands for you. Now I have Gulliver. Would you say he would throw Hans? Chan, look at you. Look at you. All right, I think I should have Gulliver and Gullivar on here as well. I have Gulliver because they're different. Pirate Gulliver, I think, would say some more heinous shit. Yeah. So regular Gulliver would, not knowing what it means. He heard it at sea, has no idea. You would tell him what it means, and he would deny, like, no, it doesn't. No, he'd fight with you about it because it definitely does not mean that. He would know. But then he would go at home at night and like Google and be like, oh my God, but he would never say anything about it. He just would never say it again. Gullivar is a pirate. And I believe he would and would repeat it. Pirates, I'd say he'd say it to your face. He wouldn't repeat it. He'd say it to your face. Pirates are crazy dudes. Pirates, they don't live by the laws. Pirates, they got the shock value going on. I think he definitely has that. All right, Henry would not. Who's this? Hippux absolutely would, but would deny it. Hopkins would not and would be shook that you said that. Hopper would say it to your face. Hornsby would not and would cry. Huck would say it and would repeat it. I had Huck on my island at one point, and he was a hater. Okay, he was a hater, didn't care for him. Hugh, I think, just simply would not, doesn't care either way. Igley, again, would not, doesn't care either way. For sure, for sure. Harriet, love Harriet. Would not and would throw hands. More specifically, would throw scissors. All right, Harriet's got a lot of hair. She would wait for the person to come back in to get their hair done and dye it like a terrible color and give them the worst haircut ever. So she's someone who's also going to bat for you. Harvey is one who would say it to your face. I'm so sorry. Do love Harvey. Harvey's like, he's a stoner from the 70s. You'd say you can't say that. He'd go, what? For real? Why? And you'd explain why you can't say it, and he'd like zone out and be like, oh, cool, dude. This is my island. And then like he'd say it again. He'd be like, no, Harvey, you can't say that. And he'd be like, what? Oh, that's crazy, man. But he'd be too high. He can't retain information at that point. He can take pictures for you, though. I'll call you some names, but you'll say, Harvey, that's mean. He's like, what? Mean? Are they behind me? And you'd be like, no, Harvey. God damn it. That's Harvey. That's it's the hard truths. Ike would not. Oh, Ione, I love. Oh, Ione's not down here. Okay, we'll get there. Jacob, I had Jacob. Oh, on a really old game. Jacob would not. Jacob minds his business. Jacques would whisper it for sure. Jambette would not and wouldn't care that you got called it anyway. Jay I had before. Jay would say it but not know what it means. She's another one. Just a little stupid and just was like, what? He'd feel bad though afterwards. Jeremiah, I'm gonna say would not. Jitters, I'm gonna say absolutely would on the internet, but not to your face. Okay, Jeremiah for sure says it to your face, but it's in solidarity. Wait a minute, what? Like he walks in a room and is like, what's up, my blank? But he's yeah, okay, no, I can see, actually, hold on, Jen, that's a good point. I can actually see that for Jeremiah. So I'll say says it to your face, because he would say it, but in a way that's like a, for sure, Jen, that's a good point. That's a great point. He would say it, but it would be like a bit between you two, whether you like it or not. He's like, nah, man, it's our thing. You're like, it's not our thing, Jeremiah, it's not. Joey would not and would cry. Judy, as sweet and cute as she is, would deny it. She's not at the gossip table, okay, but she would say it and she would deny it. All right, let's see. Isabel, I think we all know where this one is going. Isabel would deny it 100%, especially with all the changes you want made to the island and all the things you need to do and all the announcements. She's tired, she's overworked, she wants that island life. She kind of signed up for it, but she's also like, oh, why did I, she thinks you're really annoying, but she's so sweet. She's sweet to your face, but like behind your back she's saying all sorts of shit about you to her brother Digby. Again, the door's closed, everything's off limits for them. They're saying whatever they want. Julia would not and would cry at the fact that someone called you that. Julian would say it and would repeat it, but not in like a, here's the thing, not in like a, well, would he? Hold on, I gotta evaluate Julian. Okay, Julian would say it and repeat it because it was probably in a classic thing. A classic movie, classic literature, classic show. And so he's probably quoting, some kind of media, And so he's like, no, it's okay because I'm quoting something. He'd be like, no, Julian, it's not okay. You can't drop that word. He'd be like, no, but they said this in the 20s. And you're like, well, it's not the 20s, Julian, and it'd be a whole thing. So that's what I think for Julian. June, I believe wouldn't and would be shook that you would think that. Kabuki would not and would throw hands. Not because Kabuki wants to defend you or feels like it's wrong, because Kabuki just really wants to throw hands. And that's a reason. Kat is at the table. All right? Would say it, would deny it. She's at the table with the other ones. They're gossiping. They're little freaks. Jingle. Where's Jingle? Jingle. This is controversial. Would say it to your face. Okay, Jingle's the Santa of the game. Santa's really old. Santa's been around for a long time. Time doesn't really exist to Santa. Santa's done some sus things. Santa, if you think about it, I mean, the whole story of Rudolph is Santa didn't give a fuck that Rudolph was being bullied. Except then when Rudolph was useful to him, he was like, Rudolph, come over here. Let me see you for a second. Let me get a good look at you, you know? He'd say it to your face, and you'd say, did Santa just say that to me? And he'd say, and he'd fly off, and you wouldn't really have time to process all of that. Keaton would not, doesn't care. Ken, I have Ken in my game. Ken would, for the same reason that Julian would, but he wouldn't repeat it. Ken would, because it's a part of it. Ken's like an actor and into filmmaking and stuff. So he would say it, again, quoting something. He wouldn't repeat it. You'd say, Ken, you can't say that. And he'd be like, all right. But he would start by saying it. Ketchup is a hater, and Ketchup would say it to your face. Kevin would not. Kevin doesn't care either way. Kid Cat would not and would cry. Very emotional. Kid simply would not and does not care. Kiki. All right, Kiki. I love Kiki. I believe Kiki would because Kiki doesn't know what it means. And, you know, you say it and Kiki's like, I'm going to repeat that. But you also have to explain it to Kiki a couple times before she kind of gets what the problem is. She's like, what? What does it mean? What? Why is it bad? Kit also has a baby, but I believe that Kit would cry. You'd say it, and then she'd cry because you said it's around her and her kid, and you accused her, and you know what I mean, whatever. Kitty is at the table. She's at the gaslight table for sure. All right, we got Joan. Joan is older. Now, I believe that Joan would not. Joan minds her business. Joan stays in her lane. Captain is a sailor. I believe he would say it to your face, but he wouldn't be saying it about you or anyone. It would be in an old sea shanty, so get the pirate thing going on, and it'd be in the song. And he'd be like, that is a sea shanty passed down by generations. I'm not changing it. And so you'd have to sit there in his boat and be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Wow, you're really out here doing that. Katrina would say it to your face if you don't pay her well enough. If she's like, you want your fortune read, and you say no, she'd say it. And you'd be like, whoa. And she'd be like, okay, get your fortune read. I believe that if you get a good fortune, she wouldn't say it. If you get a bad fortune, she would call you a slur on your way out because you're probably bringing bad luck near her by having a bad fortune. Oh my God, you guys, there's so many of these bitches. How are we holding up, chat? How are we doing? Claus would whisper it, a little subtly. Knox would absolutely say it to your face. We vibing nice. Knox would say it to your face for sure. Kobe, I believe, would say it not knowing what it means. Again, we're going with that one. He just has no idea. Kyle would not. Kyle doesn't care. Kyle minds his business. Leonardo is a chef, all right, and he would say it and repeat it, but he's saying it to like his employees. He's like Gordon Ramsay, all right. When he's saying it's because they made shit food, and he needs them to know. Leopold would not and would throw hands. Leopold's one that you would go to be like, this happened to me, and he'd be like, interesting. Lily, I love. Lily would not. Minds her business. You know, Limburg, however, Limburg is an internet shit poster. On the internet is absolutely saying it, tweeting it, all of that. Oh, Lionel, I don't want to put him in here, but he was, again, a theater person. He would say it because it was a part of classic literature. He would say it because, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was written that way, and he's like, well, in history, you'd be like, well, listen, there's a lot of ways to maybe we shouldn't say those things, and yeah, they're historical, let's learn from them maybe better. And he'd be like, but they're written there, and he'd have like a conversation about it. Lobo, I do know pretty well. Lobo just would not. Lobo doesn't care. Lolly would whisper it on your way out. Lopez would, but would deny it. Would be like, I never said that. All right, Kix. Where's Kix? Where are you, Kix? Kix. Did I not get Kix? No, there he is. Kix would not and would be shook. I'd be like, bro, I'm so sorry someone said that to you. I'm so sorry. KK Slider. Here's the thing. Ugh. I think he would, but he would deny it. I think he would, and he would deny it. And I believe that he would maybe even sing it in a song. And he'd sing it right to you. And you'd say, KK, that's offensive. And he'd say, I never said that. I never sang it. I never said it. You'd say, KK, I have a video of you right here. And he'd be like, wow, what a deep fake you've made of me. Right? He'd learn. He wouldn't do it again, but he couldn't admit that he did it in the first place. I also maybe put him in would, but doesn't know what it means. You know what I mean? Like, he said it not knowing what it means. He learns, but he's also not going to apologize, and he's not going to own up to it. And I stand by that. All right, Louis would and would not know what it means. Lucha would not. He's got shit to do. Look at him. Lucky Lucky's a sweetheart. Lucky would not and would cry. Lucky would KK Slurrin. Yeah. That's his new song, KK Slurrin. Lucy. Yeah. Lucy would not. Lucy's minding their business. Lyman, absolutely another internet shit poster, 100%. Mac would not and would cry hearing that someone called you that. Maddie would on the internet. Maddie's another shit poster. Mayel is not. Mayel's one of the gaslighters. Denies it. She's at the dinner table, gossiping with everybody else. Maggie would not and would cry. She's sensitive. She's sweet. Mallory would whisper it, like a little subtle on your way out. You couldn't catch her on it, but Maple would not. She wouldn't be that emotional that it happened to you, but feel like, oh, that's a bummer. Marcel also same would not, wouldn't care as much either way. Marcy simply would not and would not care, and Marcy also doesn't care that her kid heard it. She's like, wow, okay, back off, just minding their business. Margie would not and would be shook. Marina, my beloved, I have Marina. I love Marina. I believe Marina would say it and not know what it means. Marina 100% would hear it somewhere, would say it, and then you'd be like, Marina, that's crazy. Actually, I would argue Marina would cry. Marina would probably cry. I think Marina's a little bit of a mix. Like, she'd say it, I don't know what it means, and then when you tell her what it means, she would cry. And she'd bake you like fresh bread as an apology. It'd be really emotional for her. All right, LaBelle. Where's LaBelle? LaBelle, I think would whisper it under her breath. This in my head is trippy. Yeah. Oh, you have Marina too. LaBelle, I think, would whisper it, as she's critiquing your outfit under her breath, and you'd be like, what was that? And then she would just not even address it anymore. Leaf would not and would cry. Leaf would not and would cry and sob and would be very upset for you, for everybody involved. It'd be really hard for her. Marshall would not. Marshall minds his business. Marshall's not too, and you'd hear it. He wouldn't, like, he'd kind of walk by and be like, ooh, okay, that's kind of cringe, Matilda is at the dinner table, okay? And she is denying it, but she is at that with her kid, by the way. Okay, her kid's learning these. Her first words probably are slurs, to be fair. Megan Megan would whisper it. I'm sorry, Megan, but you would. Megan would whisper it on your way out. She'd have like some shit to say. Melba, I feel like would not. Melba minds their business. Meringue would not and would cry. Okay, meringue's been called a lot of things, okay? Meringue looks like a meringue, a walking meringue. So she's very sensitive to those things as well. Mary is sweet and would say it and deny it. She's really cute and she knows she's got pretty privilege. So when she's like, no, I never said that. And you'd be like, well, yeah, she's like a sweet little kitty. So of course she didn't say that, but she absolutely did. Midge would not and kind of wouldn't care either way. Mint would be an internet shit poster. Mint's on there posting. Mira I also had for a while. I love Mira. Mira would absolutely say it and have no idea what it means. And then feel really bad. Miranda's an internet shit poster for sure. Mitzi, I know Mitzi. I think Mitzi wouldn't and would be shocked. Mo, I also know. Mo, you might think is innocent, you might think is sweet, but he's on the internet shit posting, okay? He's got aggression that he's never dealt with, and so he's out there taking it out on like the people on the internet, and that's his they have a burner account on Twitter. Exactly, Lance gets it. But they're also bullied, right? So they're also bullied all the time, but instead of taking that and wanting to be better, they take it and they put it out on the internet and but then pretend it's not them. Yeah, LOL wasn't me. Molly would not. Molly's gotta think. Okay, Monique, I've had Monique. Monique would say it and would repeat it. Hi, Monique. Monique would say it, repeat it, double down on it, tweet it publicly. When they say you can't say that, she's like, I just did. She'd stick by it. Monty would not. He's like, look at his little face. He's like, he just is there for having a good time. Moose, I think would whisper it. Try to get away with it. Mott would not. Mott's got his own stuff going on. Muffy would not and would throw hands. Okay, that's the real bad bitch energy. Muffy would not and she would throw hands at somebody and she'd make their life hell, but in a really sweet way. Like it wouldn't be in an aggressive way where you could like pin it on her, but like it'd be little things that would like make this person's life miserable. Murphy, I think, would, but then would immediately again deny that it happened. All right, Lloyd, whoa, okay, hello ad. Lloyd, I'm gonna say would, but wouldn't know what it means. Lloyd is he's a droid Lloyd. So whoever taught it to him, someone would have to teach it to him. You know what I mean? They'd have to teach it to him for him to learn it, and then he'd have to process that in his computer. Could he unlearn it? I don't know. Maybe it's like an AI thing where he's learned it, he's come too far, and now it's like, ooh, okay, that's the Slur droid. Sorry about the Slur droid. So, that's it. Lottie, I believe, would not and would cry for you, with you, all those things. I believe that Luna simply would not. You might say, Luna, someone said this to me, and she'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's not really her business. She'd say that sucks. Okay, Nana would not. Nana's minding their business. Naomi. Oh no, this is Nan. Nan was sweet. I like Nan. Nan would, not knowing what it means. Nan would hear it and then repeat it and then feel bad. Naomi is absolutely at the table. Would and then immediately denies it. Nate is too lazy. He would not. He doesn't care either way. Nibbles is sweet, which is why you wouldn't guess that she's whispering it, but she is whispering it. Norma is an internet shit poster. And she's so sweet, you would never guess. You would never guess. O'Hare simply would not, doesn't care. Octavian, another internet shit poster, would deny it, would not own up to it, but is on there every night, Olaf would and would repeat it. And he, would he? Well, Let me think about this one. I think Olaf just would be in the would not. Olaf's kind of in the mind your business category. You know, Olaf's kind of like, you know, I don't really think Olaf would really. Animalese. Yeah, what do they sound like with the slurs and Animal Crossing languages? Yeah, that's crazy. Lyle. Would not and would be shook. Would not and would be absolutely shook that you thought that. Olive would whisper it. Sorry, Olive, you're cute, but it's true. Olivia would say it to your face but not repeat it. You know, she might even learn from it. You say they can't say that and you explain to her why she can't say that. She might even learn from it. Might, maybe, you know. Opal. Opal would not. Opal is in the mind your business category. Ozzy would, but doesn't know what it means. Pensetti would not and would cry. Pongo is at the table of gaslighters and denying it afterwards. Absolutely denying it afterwards. Mabel, the Able sisters, love them. Mabel would not and would be shook that anyone said it to you, that it was said in general, that anything, like she would be aghast, she would be appalled. Now on the other hand, her sister Sable would get even and throw hands. Okay, Mabel would be like, I'm so sorry that happened. Sable would be like, wow, that's so interesting. Who was it? You know, really quiet like. She's a scary one to not have on your side. Palo would not. Palo's minding their business. Papi. I think Papi would, not knowing what it means, and then he'd be like, oh, my bad. Pashmina would whisper it, you know. Pate, I think doesn't care either way. Wouldn't say it, wouldn't care either way. Patty, I think Patty would say it and deny it. Would say it and then say I didn't say that. And if you did catch her, would say, well, you know, she'd turn it around on you somehow, like you're accusing me of something, and it'd be, you know, messy. Nico, where's my little guy Nico? Did I get him? I remember. Nico would not and would cry. Nico's a sweetheart. Nico would not and would cry that somebody did do that to you. Paula is an internet shitposter, 100%. Peaches is also an internet shitposter. In fact, Peaches and Paula probably run a blog together. They probably run a joint account. You know what I mean? They take turns saying slurs on the internet, for all I know. Peanut would not. Peanut's minding their business. Peanut's got nowhere to be. Let's see. Pecan is at the table of gaslighters. Would deny it. Is having tea with them. Peck, I had Peck before. Peck would, but has no idea what he's saying. So, Orville. Where are you, Orville? Orville would not. I don't think he'd be necessarily shook. He's flown all around the world. He's flown a lot of different people. You know what I mean? He wouldn't be shook. He just wouldn't say it. He's not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? I'm going to say Pascal. I'm going to put him in the would not. Because he wouldn't cry. He wouldn't throw hands. But Pascal would be like, how do you put it? Pascal would be like, bummer, man. And then he'd give you a really good like anecdote about life and about bullies, and it would make you feel a lot better. Like he would feel for you and he would be with you in the moment. But he wouldn't cry or fight. You know what I mean? Like if someone did that around him, he would just simply swim away. You know? Pee-wee for sure would say it to your face. I had him at one point. He would say it to your face. Peggy would not. Peggy's minding their business. Peggy's in her own lane. Picoy, I was going to say would not. Also minding their business. Penelope, however, Penelope would not and would cry. Penelope would not and would cry that it happened to you. So that's, you know, something to note. Oh my God, did they not have Petri here? Petrie, I love her. I went out of my way to get her. She's one of the new villagers. Oh, that's so sad. I was going to say Petrie, I think, would say it not knowing what it means. 100%, because I have her in my village. I love her. Would say it, doesn't know what it means. Would then look up the origin of where it came from, and then come back to you and tell you the origin of that word. And you'd be like, that's nice, I guess. She just likes information and would be happy to share it with you. Phil would whisper it. Phoebe would deny it. Not at the gossip table, but just would deny it. Pierce would not. Pierce has got things to do. Pierce has got weights to lift. Petro would not and would throw hands for you, which is terrifying because Petro is a clown. Petro is, that's a good ally to have and a bad enemy to have. He's got tricks up his sleeve that are really freaky deaky. All right, we got Pave. I think Pave would say it and again not know what it means. There's a little bit of a language barrier with Pave, so I'm gonna say that like Pave's doing their best and doesn't always know. And if you tell them, they're upset that they said it, but they're also like they're not gonna say it again. Pinky would not. Piper would whisper it for sure. Would whisper it to you. Yeah, no, look at him. Yeah. Pippi. Look at how many more of these are. Oh my god. Pippi. I'm gonna say would not. Pippi's minding their business. Plucky, I do know. Plucky would say it and not know what it means and then feel really bad. Pom Pom would say it to your face and not apologize. Poncho would not. Poncho's minding their business. Poppy Poppy also strikes me as would say it but doesn't know what it means. Portia I had in an older game and I love her, but I would say she would whisper it on your way out 100%. Prince just simply would not. Prince Hawkeye Star Rail Pom Pom. No, different Pom Pom, but I think that Pom Pom Hawkeye Star Rail would be in the would but wouldn't know what it means. And then when you tell Pom Pom, then Pom Pom's in the crying category. Puck, I think would say it to your face, and say that's how we talk. Pelly, so sweet. Pelly would not, and she'd be like, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm sorry that happened to you." Pete, I also agree, would not. Pete would not. Pete, Pete and Pelly, unproblematic kings and queens. Phyllis, however. Phyllis, oh my god, do I not have Phyllis here? You guys know Phyllis. Phyllis would 100% go in the whisper category. If you catch her late at night, she would, but then would deny it the next morning. That's where Phyllis would go for me. Phyllis would go there for me. That's how we talk. What a vibe. Yeah, exactly. But that's just how, like, he was raised that way, Puck was raised that way, and so he's like, well, whatever, and he doesn't, he's not looking to be better, which is unfortunate. Let's see, Puddles would not and would cry hearing it. I would say Pudge also would not and would cry. She's different at night. True. Punchy would not. Punchy's too lazy. Punchy doesn't give a fuck. Purry would whisper it to you. Queenie's at the table. Queenie's a gaslighter, girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight, would, and then would deny it. Quilson simply would not. Quilson is minding their business. Let's see, who's this? Ratty. Ratty, I think, would whisper it, specifically while they're like operating on you. You know what I mean? They're operating on you and whispering slurs at you, which is really unfortunate. Rasher, I think Rasher would say it to your face. 100%. All right, let's see. Who else do we got here? We've got, Red, yes. Red would say it, would know what it means. I put him in the would but would deny it, but not deny it in the way that he didn't say it. Deny it in the way that he's like, that's not what it means. And so you'd just be there for hours arguing with him, and he's like, that's not what it means. He'd start making up definitions, okay, to these words. He'd start making shit up on what it means. And you're like, no, crazy red. And then he'd be like, listen, I'll tell you what. You buy this from me, we'll pretend it never happened, right? And he'd start to make it like a sales pitch. And you're like, that's not the point. The point is you shouldn't say it. And he's like, going once, going, all right, you got me. $10 cheaper. And then he'd say the slur and you'd say, no, crazy red. He goes, I never said that. If you buy this, you know, he would make it like a thing. Reese, we already talked about Reese. Reese would not, again, Cyrus would not know what it means. Reese would be the one being like, sweetie, you can't. Sweetie, that doesn't mean what you think it means. And then he writes the apology letter. Raymond, I believe, would whisper it. Raymond is the coolest. Everyone wants Raymond. Everyone loves Raymond. He's a villager everyone wanted. So if he whispered it and you thought you heard it, no one would believe you. Because he's popular. He's a cool guy. No one's going to be like, it was... No, Raymond, we love Raymond. You know, you would never catch him. He'd never get caught. You know, and you'd never hear it clearly enough to know he said it, to know it was from him. Yeah, I stand by that one. Renee would not. Renee minds their business. Renee, different Renee, is a horse and would say it to your face. And I'm sorry, but she would say it to your face. She'd say it in a brutal honesty way. She'd say it like, I'm just looking out for you kind of what does that have to do with you looking out for me? Rex would not and would cry at being accused or cry that you got called that. Rhonda would not, minds their business. Rover, hear me out. Rover would deny it. Rover's been on a lot of buses. Rover's been on a lot of trains. All right? Rover's met a lot of people, been a lot of places, knows a lot of words. Would say it, you'd say, what was that? He goes, I don't know, what was that? Did you just say what I think you said? He goes, why don't you repeat it? You'd say, I don't want to. He goes, I guess we'll never know then. That's Rover. That's what Rover is to me, 100%. All right, let's see. Ribbit Ribbit's a robot, so not only would they not, but they wouldn't feel anything about it, you know? They could be programmed to, maybe, but I don't think they'd care. Ricky, I don't think Ricky cares, wouldn't say it. Rizzo, I do like Rizzo, but I would say Rizzo's a shit poster on the internet for sure. Rizzo's an internet shit poster. Roland, would not. Roland's minding their business. Robin, however, would whisper it. He'd whisper it on your way out. Rocco would say it and repeat it after he said it. He'd double down on it. Let's see, who's next? Rocket would not and would be shook for you, with you, you know, whatever. Rodeo would say it not knowing what it means. Says it very in an innocent way, and then he goes, oh, my bad. Rodney absolutely says it to your face and repeats it. Rolf I had at one point, so I think I can confidently say Rolf would whisper it. I had him in my village at one point. Okay, let's see. We did Rover. Let's do Sahara. Sahara would, but doesn't know what it means. Again, there's a language barrier there. Sahara, it doesn't say it to you. Doesn't say it about you. Sahara says it like in a way to describe her rugs. And you're like, why would you say that about anything? And then you're like, she's like, what does it mean, right? But she's like describes her rugs using these slurs she heard that she thinks are good words. And then you got to be like, no, Sahara, that's not what that means, you know. Then she goes, okay, will you buy my rug, you know? Oh no! Next year is I think that's true. Next year is the year of the horse in the Chinese zodiac. Damn, that's crazy. All right, we're almost there. Living on a prayer. All right. Rooney would whisper it. Rooney would whisper it for sure. Rory would not and would throw hands with somebody who did. Okay, Rory would be like, whoa. Roscoe, internet shit poster, on the internet. Rosie would not and would be shocked. Let's see, Rowan, I think would but would deny it. Ruby, I also think would deny it. Ruby's cute and so she thinks she can get away with it. It's up to you whether you're gonna let her or not. Rudy, I think would not and would cry and sob that it happened. Snowboy, now this one depends on how you built him. If you built him perfectly, he would whisper it. If you built him mediumly, he wouldn't deny it. If you built him poorly, he would say it to your face. And if you built him the worst possible way, he's in the Rossetti category. And every time you walk by him by your house, he's hurling slurs at you. He is, it's offensive. It's insane. In fact, Rossetti pops up outside your house by the snowman. It's just it's a time to be had for sure. So that depends on how you build the snowman. That's a little bit in your hands. Sally would not. Sally minds their business. Samson, I think Samson would whisper it, try to get away with it. Sandy would not. Sandy's minding their business as well. Let's see. Oh, Savannah. I think Savannah would say it and just not know what it means. Is he waiting? The snowman? Yeah, the snowman's just waiting for you to, every time you go in and out of your house, he's actually people pass him by and he's like, you can teach me a slur really quick. And then he gets new words every time. It's really crazy. Scoot would not and would cry that it happened to you. Sherry would not. Sherry, minds their business. Timmy and Tommy would not. They know what it means. They know what it is. They're the ones telling Tom Nook, that's what that means and you can't say that, and then he feels bad. Tortimer, listen. Tortimer would repeat it. And I'm gonna also say it's the age thing. He's not really willing to learn. Or if you say you can't say that, he'll say, what? Huh? The truth is he can't hear you half the time. So even if you corrected him, he doesn't know what you're saying. His ears are going, his eyes are going. He would say it. I don't think he means it in a bad way. It's bad, but it'd be like something generational. Yeah, it's an age thing. And when you try to teach him, you can't because he can't hear you. So it's kind of like, okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed. That's how you handle it. Yeah, Jan. He misheard and repeats the slur by accident, but then commits to it and thinks it's a hip new word he just learned. Yeah. Jan, 100%. I agree with that. All right. Sheldon would say it to your face. Would say it right to your face. Shep is sweet. Shep just would not. Minds their business. Sherb would and wouldn't knows. He doesn't know what it means. He says it, but has no idea. Let's see. Simon would not. Simon minds their business. Sky, I'd say Sky might whisper it on the way out. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't expect it from Sky. Sly would, but does not know what it means. Snake is an online shit poster. Snake's online. 100%. Snooty, it's in the name. Snooty is at the dinner table. One of the gaslighter crews, okay? Gaslight, girl boss, gate bite. I'm pretty sure that's how that goes. Soleil as well. Gaslight, girl boss, gatekeep crew. They're saying it, they're denying it, they're spreading it. Sparrow, I'm gonna say would not. Sparrow minds their business. Spike, I think would say it and then deny it immediately and make you think you're crazy. Spork would not and would cry. 100%. Sprinkle would not and would be shook. Sprocket, again, would not. Sprocket's also kind of a robot. You could program slurs into him. I don't know why you would. but like on a base level, he doesn't have those. Static. Listen, I'm sorry, Static, but Static would say it to your face. I had Static at one point. He would say it to your face. Stella's minding her business. She would not. She's minding her business. Wendell would not and would throw hands, okay? Again, Wendell's a quiet guy. So you would tell Wendell and he'd be kind of quiet and nod and just listen and listen and listen. And then next thing you know, you'd hear about something crazy that happened to that guy that did that to you. You know, and he wouldn't say anything. And you wouldn't say anything. You know, Wilbur, I'm going to go in the would not knows them. But just wouldn't, you know, knows them, knows what they mean, doesn't use them. Sterling would and would repeat it. 100%, doubles down. Stinky would not and would cry. His name is Stinky, so he's definitely gone through some bullying. You know, he's had a hard time with that. So he's with you. You know, he's like, oh my God, people call me names all the time. Stitches, I think, would whisper it. And again, Stitches is cute, so you'd never, like, no, Stitches would never do that. But they did. They just did. Stu would not, doesn't care. Sydney would not, doesn't care. Sylvana is a whisperer on your way out the door. Sylvia would not and would throw hands with somebody who did to protect you. She's taking it personally. It happened to you. It basically happened to her. T-Bone would say it, but not in a, I say mean way. They're all mean ways. You shouldn't say it. He would say it thinking it's like a funny joke and that everyone's cool with it, and then when you're not cool with it, he'd be like, well, it was just a joke. It was just a joke, guys. It was just a joke. You know, he doubled down on the joke thing, you know, like he's not saying it hurling an insult at you, even though it is an insult. He's saying it because he thinks it's, you know, then he'd also go into the, what, can't we be funny anymore? Ha ha ha. And then it'd get really awkward and you'd be like, all right. Tabby would not and would be shook. Tad would not. Tad minds their business. All right. Tammy, I think would, again, doesn't know what it means. Tangy. Oh, that was Tammy. Who did I just have? Do I have two Tammys? Oh yeah, there's Tammy with an I and Tammy with a Y. Damn. This Tammy would say it to your face. This Tammy would look you in the eye and say it. Tank. Oh yeah, we got Tangy, I think, which would mind their business. Tank, I think, would say it, doesn't know what it means, no idea. Tasha would whisper it on the way out the door, would whisper it to you. Wisp, I would say, would whisper it. Whisper, would whisper it. You see what I did there? I mean, Wisp is a ghost. Wisp is old. Wisp has probably heard it all. And also likes to fuck with you. You know, he fucks with you a lot. So I feel like it'd be a thing that, again, you couldn't prove it. You know, just be fucking with you. All right, who's this? Teddy. I want to say Teddy minds their business. Tex would, but would deny it afterwards. Tia's a sweetheart. Tia would not and would cry when she found out it happened to you. Tiffany would whisper it. She's a whisperer. She won't admit it, but she definitely did it. Timbra is at the table. She's a gaslighter. She's saying it, but then denying it afterwards. Tipper. Tipper's going to say it and double down. Tipper will say it and then say it again. Tom would not. Tom's minding their business. Truffles is a whisperer, would whisper it on their way out. Tucker. Tucker would not, and Tucker would also throw hands. Tucker's coming to your defense. Tutu would not, and Tutu would cry that it happened. My mouth is getting so dry, you guys. Tutu would not. Tutu would get offended. Twiggy. I think Twiggy would, but again, in the same boat of would say it, has no idea what it means. And same for Tybalt, would say it, but doesn't know what it means. Ursula is sweet. I would say she wouldn't and would be shook. Velma would say it and then deny it, for sure. Vesta, I think Vesta would mind their business. Vesta just would not engage. Vic, we're gonna say would not engage as well. Too busy. Victoria is a whisperer. Sorry, Victoria, you're a whisperer. Violet is a would, but would deny it immediately after. You know? Vivian, I think not only would she not, but she would go to bat for you, and she would hydrate or dihydrate. I do need to do that. Yeah, she would not, but she would also throw hands at somebody who did. Vladimir would. He'd say it to your face, and he wouldn't feel bad about it. Guys, we're almost there. Home stretch. Wade. I think Wade minds his business. Wade would not. Walker, I think would, but again, doesn't know what it means. Walt would say it and repeat it over and over again and double down on it. Wart Jr. I think he would, but again, has no idea what it means. Yeah, Vivian would totally throw hands, of course. Weber is an internet shit poster on internet for sure. Wendy, I think Wendy would say it, not know what it means. Whitney is a sweetheart. I actually think Whitney would not say it and would cry. Whitney would not say it and, like, she's really tough outwardly, but she would actually get really upset and, like, emotional that it happened to you. Willow is a whisperer, and again, she's cute, so you don't, she has pretty privilege, so you don't think she would. Winnie, I think Winnie would on the internet, but not in person. You know, Wolfgang would say it and have no idea what it means. He's saying it, full confidence, you tell him what it means, and he goes, oh, and just gets really quiet. Doesn't apologize, but it doesn't happen again. Yuka minds their business. Zell, I would say Zell would just say it to your face. It just would just be like, yeah. Zoe, oh no, Zoe here. I guess we just got Zucker left. And Zucker, I would say, would just be shook at that. And last but not least, we've got Zipper. And I truly believe that Zipper is a whisperer. Oh, where'd you go, Zipper? Zipper's a whisperer. I lost him somewhere in here. Oh, wait, there we go. No, he knows what it means. Zipper's a whisperer. Zipper would say it. Zipper knows what it means. Zipper's fully aware of what he's doing. It's quiet enough that you cannot catch Zipper. In fact, like, he might write some of the slurs in the eggs that you find, and then you'll say, Zipper, I found this egg with this word in it. And he's like, that's crazy. Must have been someone else. And you're like, Zipper, you're the only one doing this. He goes, I don't know. That's crazy. You know, he would never admit to it fully. So, holy shit. All right. Guys, that's our list. This took way longer than I thought it would. I'm screenshotting this right now for my for editor Briss. This took way longer. There are so many of these guys. This was an insane feat in my where am I? There we go. In my mind, this was a really crazy thing to do. When I first had this idea, I don't know. I thought I would just do the NPCs, like the, you know, Isabel and Tom Nook, but then I was like, I should do the villagers, but then there's so many villagers. And I think we're even missing some villagers too. Some of the villagers are even missing here. So, you know, there's even more. And these are just the New Horizons one. But what a great game that it has so much versatility and so many people to call you terrible things. Schlibbity, welcome! I take a minute. I just talked a lot. I put out some hard facts. Oh, Schlibbity, thank you for following. Tier listing was it 400? Oh my god, Jan, was it really 400? That's crazy. Damn. All right. I'm happy. I'm glad we did this. I think the next tier list we do needs to be a little bit smaller, like how the Final Fantasy VII tier list was. Guys, put in the comments, join the Discord and put in the Discord what we should tier list next. We had what kind of gay each Final Fantasy VII character was. Now we've had, would an Animal Crossing character call you a slur? You know, would they get away with it? Your shoes make my day. Thanks for being here. You guys being here makes my day, so I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, all the grains of rice in this bag, for sure. Yeah, S through F. Jan, that seems like a really low-key one. Thanks, it was a really good suggestion. But yeah, put them in the Discord chat on what other rankings do I have written down, guys? Like, what are you interested in? You're obviously showing up for these. Hold on. Where's my ranking list? What have we got? Yeah, Smash or Pass Heartless. Judging all of your Hear Me Outs. Would I eat or not eat the Heartless? Ranking Kingdom Hearts characters on who can do math. That could be a fun one. Which Kingdom Hearts characters can and cannot do math. Ranking Star Rail characters. Ranking Disney princesses, Disney villains, you know. Could have some fun with them. I think we could really have a good time, if you will. All right, well, that's it. That's my stream. That's my stream for the day. I gotta fix notifications because something always breaks on stream. That's kind of like, if you're ever thinking of becoming a streamer, something will break. And oh, I like that, Jan. Vegetables by how likely they'd be to eat you if they mute. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good one. Vegetables by how likely they'd be able to eat you if they mutated. Jan, that was fantastic. That would be fantastic. Yeah, the Hear Me Out one, I would have to get all of you together to send me. I'd have to get like a middleman to send it to them so that I could live react who it was and what the character was. You know what I mean? I could go through the file that they put together. So maybe if we can get micro celebrity bees from the Discord in on that to maybe in the new year. Anyway, this will hopefully be out on New Year's Eve. This will be our last video of the year, ending on a high note, on a bang. Next week, I promise, we are back with Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts Days is what we are going to be playing. Happy New Year's! Happy New Year's! We'll be playing Kingdom Hearts Days. This week, a video I'm very proud of, very happy with. The video title is POV, I'm Your Sleep Paralysis Demon. So this would be, if I was your sleep paralysis demon, this would be what you were haunted with. I'm happy with it, and I also hate it. I'm happy with it because it was a last-minute one that I kind of put together. But then also, I'm like, oh, is it good enough? I don't know. But I also think that as a creator, you're never going to feel like what you do is good enough. You just have to create and put out and keep creating and keep going. So, Sleep Paralysis Demon Wednesday, Kingdom Hearts Monday, and then it's into the holidays. Oh my God. Well, thank you for judging with me. Thanks for streaming with me. Have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic week. I hope you have a good start to the week. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I think you're great. Oh, let me know what you think I should dress up as for Halloween. I gotta do something for the Halloween stream. What's a good Halloween game? Like a one-stream Halloween game to play too. Like, guys, we gotta get on this. All right. I'll see you guys.